Hello, Internet.
Hello, Internet. We are here, back up again with more Twilight. We're going to be finishing up Chapter 2 here, hopefully.
Maybe. We don't know.
We have 6 more pages.
Oh, okay. By Friday, I was perfectly comfortable entering my biology class. No longer worried that Edward would be there. For all I knew, he had dropped out of school. I tried not to think about him, but I couldn't totally suppress the worry that I was responsible for his continued absence. Ridiculous as it seemed. You already stated that once in the beginning of the chapter. Calm down.
Just put something in between your legs that's run by batteries.
Stop. Oh no.
They'll take those thoughts away.
She's not literally fantasizing about him yet. That's later in the book.
Yet.
Save your dildo and vibrator jokes for then.
No.
Yes.
No.
I swear, if you're making a vibrator joke every time she mentions Edward, you're going to make me reach through the screen and beat the shit out of you. Because I'm going to get tired of it.
Doesn't matter if you get tired of it. What matters is if I get tired of it.
Oh no.
Fine.
Don't try me.
I'll include jokes about such things as hot dogs and zucchini.
Oh no! You know how that topic makes me feel.
Makes you feel very uncomfortable, yes.
Yes. I literally can't make any jokes about it because I don't do that.
I know you don't.
That's why it makes me so uncomfortable. I literally have no response to it.
Okay, next.
My first weekend in Forks passed without incident. Charlie, unused to spending time in the usually empty house, worked most of the weekend. I cleaned the house, got ahead on my homework, and wrote my mom more bogusly cheerful email. I did drive to the library Saturday, but it was so poorly stocked that I didn't bother to get a card. I would have made a date to visit Olympia or Seattle soon and find a good bookstore. I wondered idly what kind of gas mileage the truck got, and shuddered at the thought. But it's a new truck. The engine is new. Did you forget that the engine is new? That means it has better gas mileage. The engine is new.
But Hime.
She's a female. She doesn't know anything about cars.
But logic. It has no place here.
The rain stayed soft over the weekend. Quiet, so I was able to sleep well. People greeted me in the parking lot Monday morning. I didn't know all their names, but I waved back. You just said early in this chapter that you knew the name of every student at your school. Don't fucking lie to me. You know their names, you're just a bitch. But I waved back and smiled at everyone. It was colder this morning, but happily not raining. In English, Mike took his accustomed seat by my side. Oh no.
Yes.
Okay. We had a pop quiz on Wuthering Heights. It was straightforward, very easy.
Okay, so.
All in all.
So.
Yes. What?
Mike took his accustomed seat by my side. You're becoming a supervillain, and not a good one. Bitch.
Dr. Evil is a better supervillain than her.
I mean, $1 million is much better.
I didn't go to Evil University to be called Mr. Evil.
Why are we reading the Austin Powers comic books?
Because I didn't know they were a thing.
They are.
We can read those at a later
They're
date.
beautiful.
You can read them after we finish the Twilight series.
No, we need to read Batman.
No Batman.
We're here to bond over your hatred.
No Batman, please, no. My boyfriend forces it down my throat constantly. He's like, Batman, and then Batman this, and I'm like, honey, the only character I really like out of Batman is Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and Joker. Unless you're showing me a story about Harley Quinn, fucking Joker, and Poison Ivy, I'm not going to be interested.
That just got kinky.
You're a fucking freak.
Like, Poison Ivy's got those plants. I mean, she's got built-in whips. I'm going to hell for that.
You are. All in all, I was feeling a lot more comfortable than I thought I would feel by this point. More comfortable than I had ever expected to feel here. When we walked out of class, the air was full of swirling bits of white. I could hear people shouting excitedly to each other. The wind bit at my cheeks, my nose. Wow, Mike said. It's snowing. I looked at the little cotton fluffs that were building up along the sidewalk and swirling erratically past my face. Ew. Snow. There went my day. He looked surprised. Don't you like snow? No, that means it's too cold for rain. Obviously. Besides, I thought it was supposed to come down in flakes, you know? Each one unique and all that. These just look like the ends of Q-tips. Haven't you ever seen snow fall before? He asked incredulously. Sure I have. I paused. On TV. He laughed, and then a big squishy ball of dripping snow smacked into the back of his head. We both turned to see where it came from. I had my suspicions about Eric, who was walking away, his back towards us, in the wrong direction for his next class. Mike apparently had the same notion. That is spelled wrong. That is a patently. Do you see where it says a patently?
In mine it says apparently.
It says a patently in mine. There is a T there. Okay, anyway. He bent over and began scraping together a pile of the white mush. I'll see you at lunch, okay? I kept walking as I spoke. Once people start throwing wet stuff, I go inside. He just nodded, his eyes on Eric's retreating figure. Throughout the morning, everyone chattered excitedly about the snow. Apparently, it was the first snowfall of the new year. I kept my mouth shut. Sure, it was drier than the rain, until it melted in your socks.
Mm-hmm.
Why is snow getting into your shoes?
Oh, Hime. Snow, as someone who lives in Ohio, snow constantly gets up to like above 2 feet. And when you're marching through
it makes sense then, but snow literally just started falling.
Yeah. So there's no reason to be worried about now, but later.
Until she mentions walking through 2.5 feet of fucking snow, that point is invalid for her. It is literally never mentioned in the books. This is the only time, I'm pretty sure this is one of the only times snow is mentioned in the books. All 4 of them. I walked alertedly. Ah! I feel my heart tearing in so many places. Alertedly to the cafeteria with Jessica under his bed. What the fuck? Alertedly? Alertedly. What the fuck? Alertedly is not a word. Fuck you, Stephanie Meyer. Alertly. Ugh, whatever. Jessica after Spanish. My were flowing everywhere. I kept a binder in my hands, ready to use it as a shield if necessary. Oh, but honey. Your reaction time isn't fast enough to block anything coming at you. You can't even, like, catch anything in gym class.
But she can make it hit other people, which is obviously a success.
Jessica thought I was hilarious, but something in my expression kept her from lobbing a snowball at me herself. Mike caught up to us as we walked in the doors, laughing, with ice melting the spikes in his hair. He and Jessica were talking animatedly about the snow fights as we got in line to buy food. I glanced over to the table in the corner out of habit, and then I froze where I stood. There were 5 people at the table. Jessica pulled on my arm. Hello? Bella? What do you want? I looked down. My ears were hot. I had no reason to feel self-conscious. I reminded myself I hadn't done anything wrong. What's up, Bella? Mike asked Jessica. Nothing, I answered. I'll just get a soda today. I caught up to the end of the line. Aren't you hungry? Jessica asked. Actually, I feel a little sick, I said, my eyes still on the floor. Soda is not offered at my school.
It's offered at mine.
We get milk, that's it.
Like, you don't get it in the
There's
lunch
not even
line.
like a water option. You have to go find a fucking water fountain.
Like, you don't
You can't
get
even
soda.
buy soda. You can't even buy it.
Okay, so like you
At our
can't buy soda in the lunchroom. You have to walk all
No.
the way down to where the gymnasium is and then buy it from a vending machine there.
Yeah, that's what we have to do. But if you're not a senior, you can't leave the cafeteria. Actually, I feel a little sick, I said, my eyes still on the floor. I waited for them to get their food, and then followed them to a table, my eyes on my feet. Thank you for repeating yourself about your eyes on the floor. Eyes to the ground. I sipped my soda slowly, my stomach churning. Twice Mike had asked, with unnecessary concern, how I was feeling. Well, I kind of had the image in my head that you're making a face of utter pain.
It looks like you're doing math homework, bitch.
I told him it was nothing, but I was wondering if I should play it up and escape to the nurse's office for the next hour. Ridiculous. I shouldn't have to run away. I decided to permit myself one glance at the Cullen family's table. If he was glaring at me, I would skip biology, like the coward I was. I kept my head down and glanced up under my lashes. None of them were looking this way. I lifted my head a little. They were laughing. Edward, Jasper, Emmett all had their hair entirely saturated with melting snow. Alice and Rosalie were leaning away as Emmett shook his dripping hair towards them. They were enjoying the snow day, just like everyone else. Only they looked more like a scene from a movie than the rest of us. But aside from the laughter and playfulness, there was something different. I couldn't quite pinpoint what the difference was. I examined Edward the most carefully. His skin was less pale, I decided. Flushed from the snow fight, maybe? The circles under his eyes, much less noticeable. But there was something more, I pondered, staring, trying to isolate the change. Bella, what are you staring at? Jessica intruded, her eyes following my stare. At that precise moment, his eyes flashed over to meet mine. See, I know why Edward only looks up at her when Jessica mentions something. I know the reason behind it.
As do I.
Well, do you really know the reason?
Because he can hear everything and he can read minds.
Yeah, he can read minds, but he can't read Bella's mind.
Because she
Ex Machina.
Because she's such a special snowflake.
I know.
Well, I shouldn't say that. She's more of a blank slate with absolutely nothing carved into it. And
No, see, I thought she was. No, she has a personality. A vile twat. That's what she is. She's a bitch. Who's only concerned with herself.
Oh, Himi, the snow count is up to 2.
What do you mean?
I'm keeping track of how many times snow is mentioned.
No, I mean snow days, Hono.
No, just regular old snow, just whenever snow is mentioned.
That's not what I meant when I said they don't mention snow in the book outside of this. Snow is the theme of fucking this section in the chapter. I dropped my head, letting my hair fall to conceal my face. I was sure, though, in the instant our eyes met, that he didn't look harsh or unfriendly as he had the last time I'd seen him. He looked merely curious again, unsatisfied in some way. Edward Cullen is staring at you, Jessica giggled in my ear. He doesn't look angry, does he? I couldn't help asking. No, she said, sounding confused by my question. Should he be? I don't think he likes me, I confided. I still felt queasy. I put my head down on my arm. The Cullens don't like anybody. Well, they don't notice anyone enough to like them. But he's still staring at you. Stop looking at him, I hissed. She snickered, but she looked away. I raised my head enough to make sure that she did, contemplating violence if she resisted. Just the way it's worded makes it seem like it'd be unnecessary violence.
I would imagine so.
Mike interrupted us then. He was planning an epic battle of the blizzard in the parking lot after school and wanted us to join. Jessica agreed enthusiastically. By the way she looked at Mike left a little doubt in that she would be up for anything he suggested. I kept silent. I would have to hide in the gym until the parking lot cleared. The rest of the lunch hour, I very carefully kept my eyes at my own table. I decided to honor the bargain I made with myself. Since he didn't look angry, I would go to biology. My stomach frightened little flips at the thought of sitting next to him again. I didn't really want to walk to class with Mike as usual. He seemed to be a popular target for the snowball snipers. But when we went to the door, everyone besides me groaned in unison. It was raining, washing all traces of the snow away and clear, icy ribbons down the side of the walkway. I pulled my hood up, secretly pleased. I'd be free to go straight home after gym. Mike kept up a string of complaints on the way to Building 4. Once inside the classroom, I saw with relief that my table was still empty. Mr. Banner was walking around the room, distributing one microscope and a box of slides to each table. Class didn't start for a few minutes, and the room buzzed with conversation. I kept my eyes away from the door, doodling idly on the cover of my notebook. I heard very clearly when the chair next to me moved, but my eyes stayed carefully focused on the pattern I was drawing. "Hello," said a quiet, musical voice.
I like to imagine that, at least in the books, his voice is just George Takei. Hello.
Stop.
My name.
Stop. Stop, please. I looked up. Suddenly he was speaking to me. You can, matter of fact, you can read his lines if you really, I mean, if I read them, he's gonna sound like how I decide to read him.
Okay.
Do you want to read his lines?
Yes.
I'm gonna stop you after a little bit, though.
Okay.
I looked up, stunned that he was speaking to me. He was sitting. Okay, you can read Edward and I can read Bella.
Okay.
He was sitting as far away from me as the desk allowed, but his chair was angled toward me. His hair was dripping wet, disheveled. Even so, he looked like he just finished shooting a commercial for a hair gel. His dazzling face was friendly, open, a slight smile on his flawless lips, but his eyes were careful.
My name is Edward Cullen.
He continued.
I didn't have a chance to introduce myself last week. You must be Bella Swan.
My mind was spinning with confusion. Had I made up the whole thing? He was perfectly polite now. I had to speak. He was waiting, but I couldn't think of anything conventional to say. How do you know my name? I stammered. He laughed a soft, enchanting laugh.
Oh, I think everyone knows your name. The whole town's been waiting for you to arrive.
I grimaced. I knew it was something like that. No, I persisted stupidly. I meant, why did you call me Bella? He seemed confused.
Do you prefer Isabella?
No, I like Bella, I said, but I think Charlie, I mean my dad, must call me Isabel behind my back. That's what everyone here seems to know me as, I tried to explain, feeling like an utter moron.
Ooh.
He let it drop. I looked away awkwardly. You are not reading Edward anymore.
Why not?
Because of that one last O. Oh.
Nope, I'm gonna make Edward do it.
No, no
Yes.
more.
Yes, yes.
No more.
Why not?
No more. Maybe sometime later. Maybe in book 4 where they're having the wicked unprotected sexicles.
Sexticles with testicles?
Not solely with those. I mean, you have to have the peen and other things to have sex.
I don't know. Did you see the movie? It looked like he was kind of going for her belly button.
Having seen the other two movies, it was a very, very tame scene. Very tame. Very tame, Hodo.
But no, it was a wild, rampant flight for a Mormon.
Wild. Oh, look how much skin is exposed. Oh, that's how funny. Okay.
And he's in there going, oh, yes.
Stop.
Right there.
Stop. Oh, please, I beg.
But he's George Decay.
Oh. Thankfully, Mr. Banner started class at that moment. I tried to concentrate as he explained the lab we would be doing today. The slides in the box were out of order. Working as lab partners, we had to separate the slides of onion root tip cells into the phases of mitosis they were represented and label them accordingly. We weren't supposed to use our books. In 20 minutes, he would be coming around to see who had it right. Get started, he commanded.
Ladies first, partner.
Edward asked. I looked up to see him smiling, a crooked smile so beautiful that I could only stare at him like an idiot. Oh my god.
Or I could start, if you wish.
The smile faded. He was obviously wondering if I was mentally competent. No, I said, flushing. Flushing! God. What is she doing? Flushing a fucking toilet? God damn it. That thought, though. No. Flush this toilet she's sitting on.
No.
I'll go ahead. I was showing off. Just a little. I had already done this lab, and I knew what I was looking for. It should be easy. I snapped the first slide into place under the microscope and adjusted it quickly to the 40x objective. I studied the slide briefly. My assessment was confident. Prophase.
Do you mind if I look?
He asked as I began to move the slide. His hand caught mine to stop me. As he asked, his fingers were ice cold, like he'd been holding them in the snowdrift before class. Well, he was snowball fighting. But that wasn't why I jerked my hand away so quickly. When he touched me, it stung my hand as if an electric current had passed through me.
I'm sorry.
He muttered, pulling his hand back immediately. However, he continued to reach for the microscope. I watched him, still staggered, as he examined the slide for an even shorter time than I had. Prophase, he agreed. Oh, sorry.
It's prophase.
He agreed, writing it neatly in the first space on our worksheet. He swiftly switched out the first slide for the second, and then glanced at it curiously.
Anaphase.
He murmured, writing it down as he spoke. I kept my voice indifferent. May I? He smirked and pushed the microscope towards me. I looked through the eyepiece eagerly, only to be disappointed. Dang it, he was right. Slide 3? I held up my hand without looking at him. He handed it to me. It seemed like he was being careful not to touch my skin again. I took the most fleeting look I could manage. Interphase. I passed him the microscope before he could ask for it. He took a swift peek and then wrote it down. I would have written it while he looked, but his clear, elegant script intimidated me. I didn't want to spoil the page with my clumsy scrawl. We were the first finished before anyone else was close. I could see Mike and his partner comparing 2 slides again and again, and then our group had their book open under the table, which left me with nothing to do but try not to look at him, unsuccessfully. I glanced up. He was staring at me, with the same inexplicable look of frustration in his eyes. Suddenly, I identified that subtle difference in his face. Did you get contacts? I blurted out unthinkingly. He seemed puzzled by the unexpected question.
No.
Oh, I mumbled. I thought there was something different about your eyes. He shrugged and looked away. In fact, I was sure there was something different. I vividly remember the flat black color of his eyes the first time he glared at me. The color was striking against the background of his pale skin and his auburn hair. Today, his eyes were a completely different color. A strange ochre, darker than butterscotch, but with the same golden tone. I didn't understand how that could be, unless he was lying for some reason about the contacts. Or maybe Forks was just driving me crazy in the literal sense of the word. Okay. I looked down, his hands clenched into hard fists again. Mr. Banner came around to our table then, to see why we weren't working. He looked over our shoulders to glance at the completed lab, and then stared more intently to check the answers. So, Edward, didn't you think Isabella should get a chance at with the microscope? Mr. Banner asked.
Bella.
Edward corrected automatically.
Actually, she identified 3 of the 5.
Mr. Banner looked at me now. His expression was skeptical. Have you done this lab before? He asked. I smiled sheepishly. Not with onion root. Whitefish Blastula? Yeah. Mr. Banner nodded. Were you in an advanced placement program in Phoenix? Yes. Well, he said after a moment, I guess it's good you two are lab partners. He mumbled something else as he walked away. After he left, I began doodling on my notebook again.
It's too bad about the snow, isn't it?
Edward asked. I had the feeling that he was forcing himself to make small talk with me. Paranoia swept over me again. It was like he had heard my conversation with Jessica at lunch and was trying to prove me wrong. Not really, I answered honestly, instead of pretending to be normal like everyone else. I was still trying to dislodge the stupid feeling of...
Sorry, you cut out there in the call.
Not really, I answered honestly, instead of pretending to be normal like everyone else. I was still trying to dislodge the stupid feeling of suspicion, and I couldn't concentrate.
You don't like the cold.
It wasn't a question. Or the wet.
Forks must be a difficult place for you to live.
He mused. You have no idea, I muttered darkly. He looked fascinated by what I said. For some reason, I couldn't imagine. His face was such a distraction that I tried not to look at it any more than curiosity absolutely demanded.
Why did you come here, then?
No one had asked me that. Not straight out like he did. Demanding. It's... complicated.
I think I can keep up.
He pressed. I paused for a long moment, and then made the mistake of meeting his gaze. His dark gold eyes confused me. I answered without thinking. My mother got remarried, he said.
That doesn't sound so complex.
He disagreed, but he was suddenly sympathetic.
When did that happen?
Last September. My voice sounded sad, even to me.
And you don't like him?
Edward summarized, his tone still kind. No, Phil is fine. Too young, maybe, but nice enough.
Why didn't you stay with them?
I couldn't fathom his interest, but he continued to stare at me with penetrating eyes, as if my dull life story was somehow vitally important. Phil travels a lot. He plays ball for a living. I half smiled.
Have I heard of him?
He asked, smiling in response. Probably not. He doesn't play well. Strictly minor league. He moves around a lot.
And your mother sent you here so she could travel with him.
He said as...
Oh my.
Stop! He said it as an assumption again, not a question. My chin raised a fraction. No, she did not send me here. I sent myself. His eyebrows knit together.
I don't understand.
He admitted. He seemed unnecessarily frustrated by the fact. I sighed. Why was I explaining this to him? He continued to stare at me with obvious curiosity. She stayed with me at first, but she missed him. It made her unhappy, so I decided it was time to spend some quality time with Charlie. My voice was glum by the time I finished.
But now you're unhappy.
He pointed out. Oh no, you read this so slow. I know you're doing an impression, but you read this so slow. Hey, you know
Everything to K says is slow.
I don't like that. It's starting to annoy me. Okay. I have an idea. I want to read Edward, but I want to read him like Christopher Walken is voicing him.
Okay. I'll go for Bella.
Oh no! I want to do both of them right now.
Okay.
I feel like you're going to be trying to read Bella as Decay.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
You're kind of totally read her like this, then. Don't do it.
No, that wasn't it either. I was gonna go for Lindsay Lohan.
No. And I challenged. Let me read it. I want to read it now.
Do it.
And I challenged. That doesn't seem fair. He shrugged. But his eyes were still intense. I laughed without humor. Hasn't anyone ever told you life isn't fair? I believe I have heard that somewhere before, he agreed dryly. So that's all, I insisted, wondering why he was still staring at me that way. His gaze became appraising. You put on a good show, he said slowly, but I'd be willing to bet that you're suffering more than you let anyone see. I grimaced at him, resisting the impulse to stick out my tongue like a 5-year-old, and looked away. What kind of response is that? Am I wrong? I tried to ignore him. Okay, I'm dying from reading. I'm dying from trying to do Christopher Walken. Can I read him like a New Jersey, like with my northerner accent?
Okay. But after this, I'm gonna read him as Tim Curry.
Oh God. Oh God. Tim Curry. Ah.
Now I'm imagining Tim Curry playing Edward.
No. All I have stuck in my head is Rocky's modern. I have Rocky stuck in my head from when he was fucking
He'll just turn around and go, now Bella, I have a man down there. I would make a man out of him tonight.
Stop.
Best sequel ever. Although there actually already is.
I don't even remember how I do my New Jerseyan voice.
You sound like an asshole when you do it. That's New Jersey.
But I don't remember how I made the voice.
It was kind of nasally. Whatever.
Oh, here it is. Am I wrong? I tried to ignore him. I didn't think so, he murmured smugly. Why does it matter to you? I asked, irritated. I kept my eyes away, watching the teacher make his rounds. That's a very good question, he muttered, so quietly that I wondered if he was talking to himself. However, after a few seconds of silence, I decided that that was the only answer I was going to get. I sighed, scowling at the blackboard. Her school still has blackboards. Am I annoying you? He asked. He sounded amused. I glanced at him without thinking, and told the truth again. Not exactly. I'm more annoyed at myself. My face is so easy to read. My mother always calls me her open book,
Bitch.
I found. Stop! On the contrary, I find you very difficult to... Despite everything that I'd said and he guessed, he sounded like he meant it. You must be a good reader then. I replied. Usually. He smiled widely, flashing a set of perfect, ultra-white teeth.
Douche.
Am I the only one who imagines, like, one of those, like, bright, like, 260-watt bulbs flashing into her eyes and blinding her?
It would make it more entertaining.
Her skin starts burning.
Then she's definitely with like a skull left on her head, and he just grabs it and makes out with it.
Oh, the taste of death. Oh no, we need to stop this episode for right now.
Do we? Okay.
Alright, I think we're gonna finish at the next episode.
Okay, goodbye, Internet.
Goodbye, Internet.
Goodbye.